Asset protection and registered agents. Yes, those are two very important things that probably you're forgetting as a real estate investor. Well, we're here to help. Who are we? And then my name's Kenneth French with vastsolutionsgroup.com. I'm hanging out with Lilliana Falconer. Lily, what's up?
Hey, how is everybody?
I bet you everyone's doing great. You know why? Because they're watching this. They're going to learn about asset protection, estate planning. I should say asset protection and registered agent work. And some people say, registered agent work, what is it? Well, let's talk about what registered agents do and how it correlates to asset protection. So what is a registered agent? First of all, I'm going to go ahead and answer that. Well, let's say as an example, I'll give an example, best way to do it, explain it. Let's say you're living in Washington State and you want to buy a property in Texas. Okay, now you probably don't want to do it in your name. You want to structure it correctly and probably put it in an entity, maybe an LLC. So, well, you don't live in Texas. Well, you have to have someone who's a commercial registered agent or someone who's answering your phones, answering your door if you're getting service, and maybe even getting mail that's from the government or a governmental entity. Have to have a commercial registered agent, which it sounds like it's no big deal. It's only $200 to $300 a year. But why it's important is because if you don't have that, well, someone could pierce the corporate veil and say that you don't have a properly structured LLC. Therefore, go after all your assets just because you forgot to pay that $200 fee, $300 fee for the registered agent. Hopefully that explains what a registered agent is. Does that all make sense?
It absolutely does make sense. Can you tell me if this is this a state requirement or a federal requirement that is blankets across all states?
Every single state requires it, so it's rolled up to the federal level. So meaning, let's say Texas has a registered agent notice, Florida has a registered agent notice, Texas, California, every single state, you have to have a registered agent to have a viable LLC, therefore to be a part of an asset protection plan. So it's every single state.
And I imagine that every single state has their own protocol for how to file, how to get one, the paperwork that needs to be filed, their website where you need to go to do this, and domicile. They all are unique, I imagine, to some degree in how they do it.
That's
which
exactly
can make it quite difficult for you to try to figure it out, right? You have much bigger fish to fry, and we're talking about a very, very important little fish that you do have to get to, but God, can be such a nuisance. And we know what to do with it. We have experience in all the 50 states in how to file this for you, right?
That's exactly 100%. That's exactly right. You as an individual probably don't know how to do that. You probably aren't going to have a friend who's going to be open 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 in all the states, right? Or answer phones from 8 to 5. So that's luckily what we do. We help people in that. We're a commercial registered agent who helps people, luckily, because we have an office in every single state to take care of that. But that's exactly right.
So are we sitting in an office in every single state ready for you to knock on our door and say, here's your mail, or here's your service, or here's your phone call? Like, is that what we're doing? Do you have 50 of us sitting there?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Yes, people forget that. That is true. That is exactly right. So would you pay $200-300 a year for that? Well, yeah, it's probably worth it as a matter of fact. Yep, that's exactly right.
Because you don't want to, you as the entrepreneur don't want to be the one that's sitting there, right?
That's exactly right. Well, plus you can't. Let's say you live in my example of Washington State, and you have an LLC in Texas as an example. You probably can't be in two different spots at once, right? Yeah.
Got it. So is this something that you can obtain every year? And then does your anniversary date become the year that you enrolled in the state? Or is this something that's every June or every January that kind of aligns with the calendar? How does that work?
Wow, that's a good question. Thank you. Wow, that's a perfect question. So as an example, let's say you opened up your LLC. Again, using my example, you live in Washington, let's say, and you're opening an LLC in Texas. Well, let's just say you did it in July, right? So usually when you put together an LLC, usually within it will come the registered agent service. But if not, we can help out in that regard too. Sometimes people get registered agent services outside of purchasing their LLC. Anyway, so that would mean then the next July is when your renewal date comes up. So you would have to pay for the renewal at that point, as an example. So it's every anniversary date to when you started the initial LLC, or in this case, the initial registered agent services, in my example, July.
And who keeps track of that for our clients?
That's one of the services that we do at vastsolutionsgroup.com. Luckily, you, the client, do not have to worry about that. That's one of the services we do, again, for the whatever, roughly $200 to $300 a year.
Gotcha. So when I start an LLC, how long do I have before I have to establish a registered agent before the exposure is there?
Yep. Very good question.
Is that vary state by state? Depending
No,
on who
usually
you are?
right when you set up the LLC, when it's an active concern, as they call it, that's usually when you have the registered agent. And again, and by the way, even if you're missing that registered agent piece for 1 or 2 days, as an example, the courts might be able to find that you were not operating as a properly structured LLC. So again, they could go after all your assets. And what does that mean? Instead, let's say you have $100,000 in that LLC, and that's not properly structured, but you have $20 million over here and all your other assets. Well, they can go after all your assets because they were saying that that's not a properly structured
Okay,
LLC.
fine. So how long does it normally take to go through the registered agent process and get that set up?
It depends on the situation on the state, but I would say usually allow for 2 weeks.
Gotcha. So if you're thinking of filing for an LLC and structuring a company, you probably should be doing it in tandem with our services of getting you registered so that you don't have exposure, not even for a day.
That's exactly right.
Because
That's
of the
exactly
runway that
well
you need
put.
to get this set up.
That's exactly right. Love it. Yeah, love it.
Okay, awesome. And everything I imagine is digital, electronic. It could be done with e-signature. All the filing forms can be sent over to our clients that way so that it's pain-free for them and then file that way, right?
That's exactly right. Perfect. Yep.
Awesome.
I love doing these because you figured it out. That's exactly right. You asked the right question. You asked questions that clients would be asking. So this is a perfect interaction. You're exactly right.
I'm curious about it too. It's like, if I wanted to open a beard trimming barbershop and put it in an LLC, and all I want to do is focus on beard trimming, and I want nothing to do with anything else. What do I need to do to file? I don't want to worry about the 2-week waiting period and the documents. And also, can you do it from your phone? Can the forms be done digitally from your phone? Because who has time to prop up in a laptop and look at the documents while you're cutting, beards?
You're exactly right. Yeah. That's funny that you even thought about the beard, but yes, that's exactly right.
Okay. Awesome. What's the one thing that most people think that your registered agent should be doing that actually they don't, and it's important to highlight?
Yeah, depending on the volume of mail, people think that we, as a registered agent, will get outside mail. As an example, mail catalogs. As an example, usually that requires a higher level of service. And some people think, well, you guys are taking care of the registered agent work, but registered agent work really relates to files of service. If you're getting sued or governmental documentation, that, by the way, right when we get on our portal, we email it to you so you know it's all automated. So, and some people again will think that we're getting their other mail, their personal mail, et cetera, et cetera. That's a totally another service. So that's worth noting. I'm glad you asked that. There's one more thing that's kind of worth noting as it relates to registered agent services. Back in the old days, people think back in the olden days that if you live in a state, let's say you live in Texas as an example, and I want to be my own registered agent. Back in the old days, I think more so, people used to think, well, I can be my own registered agent. But remember, you have to be there. There has to be an office open from 8 to 5. Well, Texas, it's 8 to 5 p.m. So, well, if you're not there and the courts can't get a hold of you or the lawsuit can't get a hold of you, you have issues. You could automatically lose a lawsuit as a result. So you got to be careful there.
For failure to receive service.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And that's a bad thing because you can automatically lose judgment. That would be a really bad thing. If you're on vacation and they've tried over 4 times, I think in Texas that's the case, you're in really bad shape.
And how long
you lose a lawsuit? You could lose a judgment overall.
Yeah, that just sounds like such a silly little mistake. How long have we been representing clients and processing registered agents?
Ooh, look at you. Thank you. By the way, our company's been around, vastsolutionsgroup.com, under different names since 1969, started by a guy named Gary Coons. Great guy, great guy. And then I took over in 2006. We've been doing these services truly since 2008. And the sad thing is, not the sad thing, the great thing is we've helped so many clients as far as their asset protection goes with respect to registered agent services. We're growing because we're getting so many more referrals based on our services.
Gotcha. Wow. So, it sounds like I think we know what we're doing. everyone.
I think so. I think so. It's a work in progress, man. I learn every single day. And what I would also say is, I'm going to be blunt. What I'm learning is when people see how good our registered agent services are, they want to ask about our other services. I mean, we do tax, we do finance, we do, as a part of asset protection, we do a lot more services relative to asset protection. We do estate planning, we do commercial property finance, business automation. We do a lot of things that really, it starts based on our relationship with registered agent work. They see how good of a job we do at registered agent work, so they want to use us for other services, which we love.
Awesome. Well, I've learned a lot. I hope everybody out there has as well. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us. If you do want to get in contact with us about the service and any of the other services that Kenner mentioned, Kenner, where can they do that?
A couple ways. They could go to our website, vastsolutionsgroup.com, vastsolutionsgroup.com. Or, of course, they can email us at info@vastsolutionsgroup.com, or they can give us a call, 415-212-7001. Again, I'll say that accurately this time, 415-212-7001.
Awesome. Well, thanks, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Kenner, for spending your time to educate everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.